the last 5 years of my life has been big. It's been big. My life has taken a complete U-turn in the last 5 years. Yeah, like why not? Like go to Dubai, like spend a year, see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, no big deal. You can always come back, you know, nothing's written in stone. And so mostly I'm working. If I'm not working, I'm reading. If I'm not reading, I'm in the gym or I'm like, you know, running, or I discovered running last year.
So we are here at Westford University College and we are here with Miss Malavika Varadan. She is a TEDx speaker, an entrepreneur and a radio presenter, a former radio presenter. And thank you so much for coming here with us on the only holiday you have of the week.
No, thank you for having me. I would do this 100 times over. I would.
So let's begin with the questions.
Sure.
So let me just get into it straight. So like, when you got the, like from the Bangalore, when you got the opportunity as a radio presenter, when you told your parents about it, what were their thoughts on it? Like, did they say, yeah, go ahead, or like, did they question, or how did they change?
So, I mean, I come from a very sort of, I wouldn't say traditional, but in that sense, like nobody in my family was really doing, like was in the performing arts in that sense, right? So there is a lot of respect in my family for like academics and studying, and I'm sure there's a part of my mom's heart that wished that I pursued economics, which is what I wanted to do. And I was also a very academic, I was a super nerdy kid. Okay, like I was always behind my books, like I was always like nose dug into a book. I was always reading, I was always studying, and I loved economics, and I really wanted to pursue that. But when the opportunity for radio came up, I think my mom saw it as, yeah, like why not? Like go to Dubai, like spend a year, see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, no big deal. You can always come back, you know, nothing's written in stone. And so that's what their reaction was like. I was a little bit scared, because I thought Dubai was one of these places where only like people only talked about money, and they were like Lamborghinis and you know shopping malls, and I didn't know whether a person like me had any place in this city, because I'm really not a fast cars and shopping kind of person. I'm a books and quiet time and I like trees kind of person, and I wondered if I would find home here, and I have to say Dubai has been really good to me. Yeah.
So I'm curious as to what your favorite book is.
Favorite book? Oh my god, that's like asking a mother her favorite child.
What sort of books do you like to read?
So I really like to read a lot of, I read a lot of fiction mostly. I do like to read a lot of women authors. I recently finished a book by Maya Angelou, which is I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. It's a beautiful, Maya Angelou is a Black American poet and writer, and she's just a phenomenal woman in more than one way, and I just finished that book. I'm reading a book about economics and Shah Rukh Khan. It's called Desperately Seeking Shah Rukh. That's what I'm currently reading. It's by an economist for the IMF, and she talks about gender and women in the workplace, and how all of that is tied in together with the story of Shah Rukh Khan's films is very interesting. So that's something I've been reading. I like to read a good work of fiction. That's pretty much it. I really like this author called Chimamanda Adichie, and I've read pretty much everything she's ever written. I'm a big fan. Yeah, I think that's
so
it.
basically, like I love books too. Like I had a dream, like once I grow up, I'll have like a mini library in my house where there'll be like 500,000 books, and you know, whenever I'm bored, I just go pick one book, read it again. Do you have anything like that planned or something?
Are you kidding me? This is my singular life dream, and it is currently happening. If you see my office, okay, you walk into the Hive, and the office of the Hive is wall to wall books. Like you can't see anything but books. It's just books everywhere. When I moved to my new house, the first thing I decided was not the color of the curtains, not what bed I will buy. I was like, where'll my bookshelf go? So I'll put my books here, and then, in fact, like right next to my office, so my office desk is like here, right? And on the left-hand side, I have all of these books. And every afternoon after we finish lunch, just before class starts, I just run my hands across the spines of the books. It's my favorite feeling in the world to pick up a new book and open it. And sometimes in the middle of the afternoon, I'll just open a book of poetry, read a couple of poems, put it back. My biggest flex as an adult, and I still do this, is that I can walk into any bookstore and buy any number of books without looking at the price. I feel this is the only good thing, I mean, not the only good thing, one of the best things about being an adult is this. And in fact, I recently went to Bangalore. I came back with like 30 kilos of books. I just bought this giant carton. And I always tell my mother, like, why am I working if I can't buy the books I want? So yeah, I mean, I gave you a very long answer for a very short question.
No. We are all curious as to what are your hobbies. What are your hobbies? What do you like to do the most when you're free, other than reading books?
So, mostly I'm working. If I'm not working, I'm reading. If I'm not reading, I'm in the gym, or I'm like, you know, running. Or I discovered running last year, and it was like, I can't say it's a hobby. I can't say I enjoyed it, but I learned so much from it. And I enjoyed learning about myself through running. I'm currently training towards climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in February. Yeah, so my dad passed away this year on the 1st of Feb, and I wanted to make sure that I did something special on the 1st of February next year on 1 year of his passing. And so I booked a trek to Kilimanjaro, and now I'm training for it. And this is pretty much my life, right? This is what I do. If I'm not doing any of these things, then I'm just staring at the ceiling. I spend a lot of time just dreaming. That's my hobby.
So, out of the box, are you into music? Any genre you listen to?
I do love music. I start my day with music. I listen to music in the shower. If I'm not listening to a podcast, I'm listening to music. So yeah, I absolutely love music. I do.
So, music, books, work, and gym. That's part of your life.
Yeah, what else is there, in life?
So about podcasts, what are your favorite podcasts? Like some guilty pleasure sort of podcasts. Like sometimes some people, even though they like to hear like specific type, like you told economics and all that, about that. Other than that, do you hear anything else, like maybe crime, maybe mystery, maybe that?
I'll tell you my top 5 podcasts.
Okay.
So the number one go-to podcast is something that Oprah Winfrey does, called Oprah's Super Soul. I know that Oprah Winfrey is maybe an icon for my generation. I don't know whether she still is for yours, but she like inspired me so much, and so much of my life would have not been what it was if it wasn't for her, right? So even though some people think her content is a little bit dated, I still really enjoy listening to Oprah's Super Soul. So that's one. The second is a podcast called Work Life by Adam Grant, and you should check it out. It's part of the TED Audio Collective, and he just talks about workplaces, but he does it in a really fun conversational way. So it's like he talks to different kinds of people, okay, from like somebody who's working with chimpanzees to somebody who's working with young. And it's like, what do they bring to the table when it comes to understanding workplaces and the way humans live, love and work. The third is, so I just started listening to The Serial. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's a crime podcast, and the reason I started listening to it was because of the story of Adnan Saeed, who was
Yes.
you heard about this? Okay, very complex case, and I don't want to get any of the details wrong, but it's a very, very interesting story about a teenager, about America, about concepts around Islam, about the legal system, and she digs deeper and deeper and deeper through this boy's life. And as someone who works with teenagers a lot, I find the podcast really interesting. I've been listening to it. What else am I listening to? Mostly I'm listening to a lot of music, actually. I have some guilty pleasure. I listen to like a lot of Beyonce in the shower. And
So, I had one question. Do you like movies?
I love movies, yeah.
Okay, so what type of, like, do you want to go out in cinemas and watch, or stay at home with your, ice cream, cup of ice cream, chocolates, or what?
How do I watch movies?
Yeah. What do you prefer?
Yeah, I prefer watching it at home. I prefer watching it at home because, I mean, I don't know, like the whole cinema experience for me, it hasn't been the same. I don't know. I think I watched Top Gun a couple of months ago in the cinema. And yeah, it's like nice to watch it in a cinema and all that. But I mean, home is a lot more convenient.
You won't be yourself.
Yeah. And I actually watched 2 movies this weekend, which is more than I've watched in the whole last year combined. So you asked this question at a very particular time.
So you're more of like a house person than outside?
Yeah. I like to watch interesting dramas. I like to watch your like regular Oscar Academy Award winning type.
So like late night you will be like, if you don't want to sleep, you're just watching something.
I usually sleep on time, yeah. So I rarely, and I usually come home so exhausted from work that you just have to say sleep, and I'm like out for the count. Like I'll sleep in 5 seconds. But if at all I do find myself with a bit of spare time, then I watch a film. Yeah.
I'm curious as to what is the first thing that you notice when you see a person?
Their eyes.
Really?
Yeah.
You find that very attractive.
Yeah, because I mean, I think you can tell. So there are two things actually. One is their eyes, and the other is their posture. I think some people just, it really bugs me when people kind of go through life like this, right? I'm like, come on, pick it up, back straight, let's go. So my big thing is posture. Like, I mean, sometimes I work with teenagers and I'm constantly telling them, what, straight, back straight. So I'm like one of those people. No. But I think your posture says a lot about your love for life. I don't think you can go through life like this, yaar. Like, be ready for action in life, you know? So that's my thing. And the other is eyes. I think when someone's eyes light up when they see you, I think that's a sure sign of something beautiful. Yeah.
Like you said, you come home tired, you sleep. How do you, manage all this, like life, business, gym? How do you do? Like there must be some days when, business takes over all the other elements. Then
yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, and there are those days, right? I think being an entrepreneur, you just have to say that this is the way it is. I mean, there are days in the month of June, for example, I was eating absolute rubbish, like parathas from the cafeteria kind of food every meal. I had not gone to the gym for a month and a half. Because my work was priority. And then there are also days where I do leave work a little bit early so that I can manage something else, or like I can have a bit of a personal life, or I can take my mom out, or I can go to the gym, and I think that's just one of the constant guilts that you have to face as an entrepreneur, is that when you're at work, you're thinking, oh my God, my family needs me, or I need to be out, or I should have worked out today. And when you're there, you're thinking, oh man, there's so much left to be done. I have to send all those, emails, or that invoice is incomplete, or I forgot to pay that bill, or, there's all of that as well. Yeah.
If you could go back in time and tell yourself something, what would it be?
If I could go back 5 years, I would. Wow, the last 5 years of my life has been big. It's been big. My life has taken a complete U-turn in the last 5 years. 5 years ago was which year? 2017? Yeah, I would say stick it out. Like just keep your head down, keep working. You'll be okay, things will get better. I know it feels really overwhelming right now and you feel like you'll never get out of it, but you will, and you will turn around and you will say that it's such a small mountain to climb. I'm off to climb another one. I think that's number one. I would tell myself to not be afraid of negotiating hard and to stand up for what I want and to say, look, this is what I want. If you're not able to meet this criteria, you're going to have to walk. And I think that is true for business, it's true for my personal life. It's true for my friendships. I think that's two of the big lessons I've learned in the last 5 years.
That's beautiful.
Coming up from your past, like from as a radio presenter, now you're handling Hive, which is a very big company. So like, how do you inspire them? Like, how do you get that inspiration? How do you motivate them? Like
my team?
Yeah, like, you have people under you, right? And like, there must be some days that you're like, no, I don't want to go. Like, you don't feel like doing it, but you need to motivate them so that the work goes on, the thing goes on. How, from where do you get the source of motivation?
So first of all, I don't think people work under me, right?
Okay.
I think I work under people in the sense that my reason to go to work is because I know that there are these 7 families or these 8 families who are dependent on whether I make a good decision or not. If I mess up this business, right, and if I make some bad decisions and I go and make some illogical purchase and I say, okay, I think we should have a Hive in Dubai Mall, and I sign a rent contract, that means that the families of these people and their children and their schools and their decisions on what food they put on the table is going to be affected by the work I do. So it's a bit reverse actually. More than anything, my daily reminder to myself is that you better make the right decision that does these women well in life, right? So I'm responsible to them more than they are responsible to me. Like, so it's like the leaders eat last kind of concept, right? That's one. And secondly, I think that a very big part of what we do at the Hive is is the purpose of getting children transformed, right? And to give that opportunity to children to see that fearlessness, to give them a space to be themselves. So I don't actually have to do much. The work itself is so empowering. The work itself is so beautiful. If you see a child go from this shy child who will not even come into the door because they're so scared of going on stage, and in 13 weeks you see them getting up on stage and performing to their parents. I don't have to do much as a leader. I don't have to do much as a business. You know, as a teacher yourself, you are crying when you're seeing that. Yeah. So the work kind of does the job for me, you know. So yeah, I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So let's just go back in time a little bit.
Sure.
And when you were a radio presenter, I'm pretty sure you've spoken to a lot of celebrities, interviewed them. Who was your favorite celebrity to interview?
I think it's an obvious answer, but I love Shah Rukh Khan. I love that man. I really love him. And I don't love him for his movies. I think his movies are pretty nonsense actually. And have been for quite a while. And honestly, I don't even remember the last Shah Rukh Khan movie I watched. But I think he has this incredible emotional intelligence. I think he's just got this way of navigating a room. You know, he's one of those people who he'll like walk into a room, right? And he will make every single person feel special. And if you are on stage with him, he will say your name and he will make you feel good and he will give you that moment that you wanted, and he will make sure that even that production guy who's sitting in the light console all the way at the back of the room feels special. You know, and that is, I think that's what makes him a superstar. I don't even care about his movies anymore. Like, it's not even about the films for me, right? It's just about this personality that he has, which is so cool, right? And he can talk to anyone, yeah? I've done events with him where we've been at like the 7-star hotel, you know, doing like some intellectual conversation, or where he's had to address a group of like billionaires. And I've seen him on the streets of Meena Bazaar, you know, dancing with his fans. And he's equally awesome on both stages. How many people do you know who can do that, right? So yeah, I think that's, wow, I'm clearly a Shah Rukh fan, right? Yeah. Shah Rukh Khan is by far one of my favorite people. I think Vidya Balan has that incredible ability as well. She's so warm and so kind. She just gives off this good vibe. Yeah.
So before we end it, is there anything you would like to tell the youth of, like, you know, this generation, something, a message you would like to pass personally? Like, you know, you're thinking something.
I think it's important. The things that I wish I knew when I was, how old are you guys? Sorry, are you obviously young enough for me to ask the question?
We're 19, 18.
18, 19, okay. So when I was 18 or 19, what are the things that I would want to tell myself? I'd want to tell myself to save money faster. Be careful with my money, because I sometimes think, yeah, if I was smarter in my 20s, I'd be so much richer today. So be careful about your money, be careful about who you share that with, be financially wise and sound. Don't be afraid to talk about money, don't be afraid to negotiate for better, don't be afraid to ask for more, be outspoken about your ambitions. It's okay. The world will deal, okay? So that's number one. And I think number two is to just go out there and chase opportunity, and to not be worried so much about, like, I think a lot of young people are really worried that I don't know what I want to do with my life. Actually, I'm 35 and even I don't know what I want to do with my life, you know? In the sense that I know what I want to do today, I know what I want to do next month, but sometimes it's more important to have a shiny thing in your peripheral vision than it is to have some kind of obscure long-term goal, you know? So I think that's an important one for me.
So we'll just wrap it over here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for spending your precious time on us, and with that information. I'm like really happy to take this interview with you. Like, it's a big thank you from our team.
Thank you both. You've both been incredible hosts, and I wish you all the luck. May you go on and do many, many more of these with much bigger business leaders. Soon, Bill Gates and Elon Musk and all the likes will be sitting here.
Thank you. Thank you.